by Donut Country and McDonald's on 1019, 100.5, 1450, WGNSSports.com, and BigGTV.
Back here on the Coaches Show, and we're brought to you by the law offices of John Day. They've helped thousands of people get legal help when they've needed it the most. If you've been injured, call the law offices of John Day. Matt Kriesky is here. We're talking Blackman Blaze football here for the next few moments. And Coach Kriesky here is the reason that some of us, himself included, have not had much sleep the last few days, right?
Yeah. Thursday game got us going a little bit early. Late night Thursday night, back at school Friday morning. Then last night, start working for next week's game, and so it's just been real busy. That's what Friday morning, taking my son to school, and he's like, "Dad, I don't think I like these Thursday games." He said, "We gotta go straight to bed when we get home," and I'm still tired. So
yeah, and I don't know about you, but I was just kind of a little bit wired after the ball game, and I always am. Yeah. And so going to sleep was not much of an option there extremely early. But talk to me. I had a few people, and we've done these Thursday games for a little bit, but Thursday games are to help with some of the pressure with officiating. But how do you decide which games you want to play on Thursday and whatnot? I mean, it makes sense, fall break week, get a little early because people like to go a little early, and sometimes they go early. And if you play on Friday, the gates are not as, all of that makes sense. But a week two, how do you come up with that?
Well, TWSAA assigned.
Do they assign those? Okay.
Assigned some Thursday games. Our Cane Ridge game and Rockville game was assigned by TWSAA for Thursday night games. Stewart's Creek, Coach Caudell called when we were doing the scheduling and asked if we would be willing to move it up, and we agreed to that. Yes, it does make it for a short week of practice, so that's a little stressful because you want to make sure you get everything in and you get the kids ready and you get your game plan ready on all three phases of the game. But the other team's doing it also, so you're both doing it. And also, it kind of breaks up the monotony of playing every Friday night. Give the kids a Friday night off where they can maybe go watch some of their friends play or just enjoy a Friday night off.
What does Matt Kriesky do on a Friday night that they're not playing a football game?
Working on the next opponent. How
did I know that was going to be the answer?
So instead of going to the game, I stayed at home. I watched the Riverdale game on YouTube, and I watched that game. And then I also had other games in the county on watching it. And just you start preparing. You always want to get a day ahead. So that's what I did. Stayed up late, probably a little after midnight, working. That's what coaches do. You can't. You always want to work. You always want to feel prepared. You always want to get your team prepared, ready for the next week.
Sometimes you don't even get to enjoy what just happened. And hopefully you try to tell the kids to do that, enjoy this, come back, all of that coach speak. But, on the way home last night, I was just thinking about we need to get these things fixed for our next broadcast. And I know you do the same thing.
Yeah, you always try to enjoy the win, but, I don't do a good job of enjoying the wins, and that's how I am. That's how I've always been. But I think I've done better as the years gone on. But you always after the game's over, you're always thinking about your next opponent as a coach.
Well, we'll talk about that coming up because it's region play for the rest of the way, which is mind blowing to me, and for some who are just now maybe getting into following high school football the last few years, you're thinking, it's the first Friday night in September. We're talking region already. Well, yeah, we'll remind you of why that is. But Thursday night, 41-6 victory over Cane Ridge. 14-6 at halftime. I'm sure you would say that it should have been maybe 21-0 at halftime.
Yeah, it should have been. We were up 14-0, driving to score again. We fumbled the football, they scooped it and scored. And it is what it is. But one of the things that we got to fix and correct, I felt like once that mistake happened, we kind of all our energy was gone from there until the second half. So we've got to be able to. We talked about it. we've talked about it the first week. We talked about it this week, but about being resilient. So we have to bounce right back. Our defense did a great job. I believe they had 42 plays on offense, and our defense gave up 54 total yards. So that was huge. So offensively, we got to match our defense's intensity. And when something bad happens, is just move on. You got to move to the next play.
I really thought that when you had you had some offensive struggles in the first half. Yeah. Okay, and you just as much said that. So, but your defense was solid. Yeah. I thought, and sometimes it maybe takes a minute to come around after halftime. I mean, things started to click for you guys, but that's when you count on the defense to keep a game close. Yeah.
Our defensive line, I thought they had a heck of a game. Our linebackers, with most of them, their second game started, they played really well. Secondary did a good job coming down, filling the run. So we're really impressed with those guys. I think one of the things, offensively, we scored on the second play of the game. Yeah. And I feel like the kids took their foot off the gas pedal instead of just keep going. We got to realize like it's a 4-quarter battle. Anything can happen in 4 quarters. So we've got to keep the same intensity, the same energy throughout. And so when we went into halftime, I challenged them. I told them, I said, you made this a game. It's a 4-quarter game. How are you going to respond? What are we going to do in the second half? Are we going to lay down and let them come back in the game and tie it up, or are we going to play our style of football and play Blackman football? And I think we came out and we responded.
We are talking with Matt Kriesky this morning, the head coach of the Blackman Blaze. Boy, did you respond. 14-6 at halftime, 41-6 final score, and that you kind of knew that they were going to try to keep it on the ground, and it was just like they ran into a concrete wall every time. I keep going back to the defense, but, man, it was a really, really good effort by your whole defense.
I was really impressed with the running back. He ran the ball well. And then we did a good job of stopping him. But if he got that little crease, he could hit it and he could run. So they did a great job. We blocked a punt in the first half. Jalen Dow scooped it and scored a touchdown. That's one thing we really work on week in and week out is our punt block team, and so that's 2 weeks in a row. We've had a punt block, and that's our goal each week is to win the special teams phase of the game. And I think we were able to do that Friday night.
Well, talk about you kind of mentioned Javion a little bit. Your quarterback Elliott, 6 of 10, almost 140 yards, and had TD runs of 36 and 30, I believe, and. Really impressed with Micah Nance. You've developed considerable amount of depth back there.
Yeah, Micah did a great job running the ball. Also, Javion adds another element, being able to read and pull. And when he takes off, he goes. His first touchdown run with a 33 or 36-yard touchdown run. Majority of the fans and even some of the coaches thought that Jabari had it and Jabari was about to score. They didn't realize Javion had it until he reached the end zone, and it was the way he pulled it and the way Jabari carried out the fake was amazing. He made a linebacker miss. The safety tried to come down and tackle him, and then they finally realized he didn't have the ball. So Jabari was just as much a huge part of that touchdown play than Javion, but Javion did a great job on the 2 runs he had. Made some throws in the second half that we really needed. Threw a bubble to Max and Max Wilcox, and Max breaks 3 or 4 tackles, and then we were able to score the next play. I believe Jabari ran that one in.
Coach, have done this for a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Fooled me too, or about half of it. Then I saw the sideline, and it was like, there's something to that to be, because it takes defenders away. Yep. Right.
Yeah, and it makes the defense defend all 11.
If you can sell it,
and that's huge. They can't just focus on the running back. They got to make sure that Javion is not pulling it. He did a great job. Micah Nance, like you mentioned earlier, man, he had a great run. Was able to cut it back. I believe that for our last touchdown, and did a great job. Sophomore running back who's going to be special. Kid doesn't hardly speak, but comes to practice every day, works really hard. Just his work ethic is unbelievable. So we're really impressed with him. You got him and Jabbar in the backfield, and that's huge. And then, you know, our receivers that we're able to get the ball to, Brylan O'Dore, Max Wilcox, Kari Dixon, you know, and so we've got some weapons. And I told them after the game, told them Friday, you know, we've got to play a 4-quarter game next week if we want to be in the ball game.
Well, let's talk briefly about next week. This is a game that's known by many names. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, it's not by the name of the team from either side. That just kind of shows you what kind of rivalry it is. But you get to head on the road, first game in the region, and it happens to be at Riverdale.
Yeah, you know, it's Riverdale Blackman. It's a huge game, backyard brawl. You know, we got to have a great week of practice. We got to prepare. Their quarterback is really good. Had a really good night last night. They had a freshman receiver who had some big plays. They're very athletic on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they got a great defense too. You know, those guys fly around the football, make plays. So it should be a good high school football game, very physical football game. And so, you know, you got to limit the turnovers, limit the big plays, and hopefully in the fourth quarter you're in the game to have a chance to win.
I said to Will in the interview that this is a game, week 11, we're probably going to look back on and say how it affected the region standings.
Yeah, I told the kids it's a playoff game. This is a playoff game. When you're in our region, playoff starts early. Like you said, this is an all-county region, so it's a huge game. Playoff implications on the line, and like you said, week 3. And that's not typical, but it is what it is, and you know, and I think everybody in this county is up for the challenge.
You know, the region games are starting earlier. As a fan, as you know, people in the community that enjoy watching high school football. I mean, you've played some really good teams up to this point, but it's just something special when it's Rutherford County versus Rutherford County, and that brings out great crowds and just excitement for the game. Yeah,
this county is a football county. They love football in this county, and so all these region games next week's going to be huge, and you're going to bet at every stadium in this county it's going to be packed. Because people in this county love football. They love Friday night football, and that's huge.
Well, we will have the broadcast of the game, but hopefully there will be, 12,000 that show up, and we'll just, do a broadcast for the 2 that can't make it. But we want everybody to be there, help support these local teams. It should be a fun atmosphere, and let's go region play here. So looking forward to it. Matt, enjoyed our time at Blackman. A really great atmosphere, and I told you before we went on the air, had it not been for your home crowd, I mean, they just really came out for you Thursday.
I need to give a shout out to our crowd. They showed up, and it was amazing, all those guys showing up. But also Mr. Smith, Mr. Lawless, we were crunched with the video board. Everything got finalized. I believe Mr. Lawless was probably up there to 10 o'clock on Wednesday night, going through a run through, making sure everything was good. The Lee family did a great job of staying up there too, making sure, trying to get all the kinks worked out in less than 24 hours, and having that video board up, the lights flashing. You didn't notice anything that went wrong. It brought an extra thing to the crowd, to the energy, and it's exciting to see on a Thursday night that the Blackman community came out and showed.
Most certainly did. Matt Kriesky joining us this morning, head coach of the Blackman Blaze on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Rick Hall, Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna. Give Rick a call. Auto, home, business, life insurance needs, they'll handle it all. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance.